What if memory loss isn't simply a part of getting older? What if the damage actually begins decades before you draw your first, oh yeah, what was I going to say? I can't remember. We're going to be talking about the brain and how you can protect yours right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Patton. Joining us, as usual, Martin Patella, health engineer at Life Enthusiast. How are you doing today, Martin?
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. We're going to be talking about the brain today, the thing in here that everybody says, oh, man, I can't remember. Before we get into it, I want to tell you a quick story about a friend of mine who was a memory expert. And he would get 50 people in the room and he would say, okay, say your name, and everyone would say their name once. And then he would do his whole presentation for an hour. At the end, he'd have everybody stand up when they heard their name, and he'd point, and he did it every time. And when I was talking to him afterwards one day, he says, you know the real secret to having a good memory, Scott? I go, no. He says, not having to remember. And I'm like, what? He says, yeah. He says, you lose your keys all the time, right? I go, yeah. He says, pick a place and always put your keys there. So that's what I did for the next 20 years. I picked a spot, I hung it up every time. And the two times that I didn't hang it up, guess what happened, Martin?
Couldn't find your keys.
Couldn't find my keys. So now, of course, I'm traveling the world. Right now, I'm in Pachuca, Mexico, which is just north of Mexico City. So I am every month in pretty much a new place. So every month, where am I putting my passport? I pick a place and I always put it there. Where am I putting my wallet? Usually with my passport, but not always. Now there are keys. They gave me a set of keys here so I can get in and out. And I've picked a place and I always put my keys there.
Yeah.
And as long as I do that, I don't lose it. But as soon as I don't, then it's like, where is it? And the one thing that I never do is, where do I put my glasses? So I am constantly looking for my glasses.
You know, I lived in one house for something like 15, 16 years. And then we moved about 3 years ago. And I know that I have certain objects in my possession. I just don't know where they are.
Right.
I clearly remember where they were in the house before, but I just don't know where they are here.
Right.
I might have unpacked them. I may have not unpacked them. I know I own it. I just don't know where it is.
Right. Yeah, I know it's somewhere. I know. And that happens to me, is I'm always leaving something behind.
But so that's the memory trickery. But there are two pieces to brain processing. One is called cognition, and the other one's called recall, right? Processing, as in thinking your way through a problem, and the other one is remembering things.
Right.
And yet there are wonderful strategies for remembering, right? Like always tie something to something else. Like if I want to remember the name Scott, I need to remember that this guy that I met has a special tartan shirt that he wore. Oh, the Scott, the tartan. Oh yeah, he's the Scott. Right? Like you tie it together. You find some mnemonic device that allows you to have a secondary thing that will tie it back.
Absolutely.
But so, that's only a technique. The fact is that you need to have brain processing power.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems that we have. So before we jump into that, I just want to say this one thing. It's our version of a disclaimer. Most health advice comes one size fits all, but your biology isn't one size fits all. So at Life Enthusiast, we help people move past the generic industrial medicine to find the specific natural path that actually restores your unique body to its fullest potential and vitality. So With that, everybody, memory loss isn't just about aging. And
Oh, it is not about aging.
it's not about aging.
No, it's time is not the problem. The problem is energy, because your brain consumes about 20% of your energy, even though it represents only 2% of your body weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up this week's infographic.
Ah, yeah.
And it's, oh, did I pick the right? No, I picked the wrong one. Sorry.
I will have you pick the one. There we go. What you're showing is a schematic for mitochondria. And mitochondria are the little chambers inside of every cell. Like your heart cell will have 10,000 of these mitochondria within it. So depending on which type of tissue, the density of the cell is going up or down. And so wherever there is a lot of energy conversion needed, that's where the density goes up.
Yeah.
You have it. You have lots of these in your heart, in your liver, in your reproductive organs like ovaries for women, and in your brain, and in your kidneys, and in the circulatory system.
Right.
Guess what? Remember COVID?
Yep.
The most problems that people had were healthy young people who took the shot and then all of a sudden were caving down with a inflammation like carditis, right?
Yeah.
That's because the shots affected strongly how the mitochondria are able to convert food into energy.
So if someone basically says, I have no energy, Martin, we can probably say that the place to look at first is the mitochondria. What
Definitely. Think of it in terms of a car, combustion type of car, where in the cylinder you're spraying in a mixture of air and fuel. And before that, you have an air filter and fuel filter. And you could have a compressor, a turbocharger, that will push more air in. And then you have the spark, and the spark will ignite the mixture of the air and the fuel. Very similar thing going on inside of the mitochondria. You have either glucose or fat present as the fuel source, and you have oxygen as the oxidation. And then you have the spark that's in the form of vitamin B1. And you will have an exhaust. And the exhaust will either be carbon dioxide, or if your efficiency goes downhill, it'll be lactic acid.
Right. And that lactic acid is what we feel after we go for a hard run and everything just gets sore the next day.
Yeah, when you outstrip your ability to oxygenate, you will start manufacturing this lactic acid, and it'll make you very stiff.
So in our infographic here, we have one side, which is the blockage that is occurring, and on the other side, how to restore it. And we're going to get into that in a lot more detail right now with our presentation and the brain energy crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you are not able to feed the brain cells sufficient energy, you will not be able to think, because it's all energy. It's all dependent on available energy. So if you're, glucose, for example, which is the more popular fuel, is stored in your muscles. So if you're starting to lose muscles, if your muscle mass is diminishing, then your stored energy is diminishing. What happens to old people who become sedentary? They lose muscle mass.
Right.
Therefore, if they have lived always depending on available glucose to think their way through a problem, they now have less energy available to do such a thing.
So, Martin, is this applicable to old people like me, or are we seeing this starting to happen to people that are younger because we're, as a
Well, if you're,
society, far less active than we used to be?
yeah, I mean, if you're a weakling gamer, then you're going to have that same thing. You're going to be losing your ability to think your way through it.
So this is a metabolic failure, not a chronological one.
Right, exactly. It's an energy problem, not a time problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the problem is that you could be having this. This is something that is like underground. We're actually going to get to a slide that shows that.
Well, let's mention this thing called the glycation, where you have glucose. If you have more glucose than you should have, then insulin comes into play and creates these glycation byproducts, and they are causing damage. They cause damage to the myelin sheath, they cause damage to the brain cells, and especially to the hippocampus, which is the interface where memories are formed.
Right.
Anyway, oh yeah, so you have put a really cool note about PET scan.
Yeah.
A PET scan is a scan done with glucose that has been tagged radioactively, and usually technetium-99, and they just have you drink it, and then they put you into a scanner, and then they watch where you light up. And if you light up too much, then you are over metabolizing, and if you light up not enough, then you're under metabolizing. Of course, this is also how they catch cancer, because cancer is a universal glucose metabolizer. It very hungrily sucks in all the glucose it can possibly find. So if they put you in a PET scan and you have cancer, it'll light up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have different paradigms. We've got the life enthusiast view, and we've got the traditional medical view.
Indeed. Well, I mean, you're saying it here, right? With the standard approach, you say it's your age. And we say, well, yeah, except it's your energy deficit and insulin resistance that's causing the problem.
Yeah.
And here's the important one, right? The standard medical system is designed to treat illness, to treat symptoms. And they only talk to you after you have already started complaining about your problem. We want to point out to you that if you have a metabolic problem, you will have early signs of it 20 years before you start losing your marbles.
Yeah, this really irritates me, actually, Martin, because I had an experience with a dentist that was like this. And I went in for my checkup, and the dental hygienist checks my teeth and says, oh, yeah, you've got the beginnings of a cavity. We're just going to wait until it gets a little bit bigger so then we can do something about it. And I thought, there has to be something we can do about it now. They just don't want to, because it's hundreds of dollars for a cavity, a filling.
Yeah. Yeah, this is minor. The bigger one is you have a thyroid problem, and they tell you, well, we'll observe it. Because in mainstream, they don't have anything to help you with your thyroid. So they wait until it's bad enough to kill it and replace it with a medicine.
Right.
Yeah, no repairs. Anyway, the metabolic blood panels are a way of alerting you early on in your life that you actually have a problem.
And I think one of the biggest differences between this traditional view and our way of looking at things is, oh, you're old, nothing we can do about this. Maybe we'll give you some drugs and see if that kind of helps. But really, this is life. Whereas you can restore those energy pathways. You can reverse these problems. And we see it happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, we may as well assume that we are going to have the problems of everyone else if we do what everyone else is doing.
Right. So you can see the future. Look to your parents. Look to the people that you're working with that are 10 years older.
Yep. And if you're doing what they're doing, then you're a good chance you're going to end up experiencing what they have going on now.
Right.
Yeah.
So here are the 4 stages. We kind of talked about this before, where
Yeah.
energy drops, but nobody cares and nobody notices.
Yet the symptoms are mild, but I mean, I remember I had this, the stage 2. All of a sudden, I broke through into stage 3. Like I completely forgot. This happened to me like 13, 14 years ago, which, yeah, I was probably 60 at that point. I could not remember the PIN that I used on my credit card. I didn't use it very often, right? Like there was a debit card that I was supposed to punch into the thing to process a payment, and I could not remember, not for the life of me.
And did you ever remember it?
No,
No.
no, it was lost. I was not sure. I tried 3 different things that I thought it might be, and it was neither of them, and so it was simply lost. So I had to repin all of my cards, and I have not forgotten it since. But it was a warning. To me, it was a warning because it was on a day when I overdid glucose intake, right? And we should talk about that, right? The early signs will happen to you. You enter a room and you wonder why you're there. You watched a movie, you want to tell your friend about the movie, and then you say, that actress, and you see her face in your inner vision clearly, but no chance that you can remember what her name was.
Right.
That's the sign. Oh yeah, there's your perfect explanation.
Yeah. You cannot heal a sick fish in a toxic tank, which, by the way, I'm looking after 7 little teeny weeny fishes in an aquarium, and tomorrow I have to remove 20% of the water and replace it, but I can't replace it with just regular water because it's full of chlorine. I have to put a cap of stuff in there to clean the water and get rid of the chlorine before I put it back.
Yeah.
So I am stressed out to the gills because this is not something I'm used to doing.
Yeah, you'll be able to follow the instructions. It's not that hard. But look at the right side of the graphic. It's showing you what's going on. And it's the sleep quality, because when you sleep, you repair. It's the gut function. If your gut is not working well, you'll have leaky gut and you're injecting underdigested food into circulation, which leads to inflammation.
Yeah.
And if you are stressed, you have high level of cortisol, that will also increase the flooding of your circulatory system with glucose, and it will raise insulin, and it will cause this inflammation. It's this magical circuit of suffer stress, get excited, don't exercise, lose your mind. Yeah.
And it's all a choice. Like, we can make a new choice. And for many people, that choice would be, okay, I need to learn about this in more depth and understand it and look at what foods are going to cause what problems.
Yeah.
And part of it is just being aware, having a journal and saying, okay, this is what I've eaten. This is what work was like. This is what my sleep was like.
Yeah.
I have a tummy ache, whatever, and my energy level is low, and start connecting all the dots. Because unfortunately, if you're hammering a nail into a wall and you miss the nail and you hit your thumb, you immediately know what you did wrong. Unfortunately, it could take a few hours to a few days to a few weeks to figure out what you did wrong when it comes to looking after your body.
Yeah. But good metaphor. Visualize a million teeny little hammers hitting you on the inside.
Yeah. So this is your early warning system. So,
right on. Okay. So if you're snacking, if you're eating between meals, the energy density in your food is incorrect. You're using light fuel instead of long fuel. You're using too much carb versus enough fat.
One of the ways you keep talking about this is you have a fire and you're putting twigs on the fire instead of a couple big logs.
Yeah. Yeah. Fat burns a lot slower than carb.
And Martin, what if we're waking up in the middle of the night for no reason?
Well, there are two common reasons why. One is older people have a shorter ability to hold urination, so they may be waking up for that. The other one is you're waking up hungry. And if you're waking up hungry, it's probably because you've already run out of available energy, right? You forgot to put that fat log onto the fireplace to make it through the night.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then if you eat a meal and you feel that you have become stupid, or you need to take a nap, or you think you just can't think clearly, sluggish, whatever, that's a sign that you have mismanaged the fuel balance. And 9 times out of 10, it's you're lacking ketones and you're too rich in glucose.
Right. Okay, so the brain protects itself by locking the doors.
That's called insulin resistance. And it's not just the brain, it's everywhere in the body, but you will notice it in the brain because you can't think. And it's regardless of how much glucose you have circulating, if the cells have gone insulin resistant, they are refusing to open the door and take the glucose in. The only fix you have is to switch to a ketogenic diet.
There you go.
Yeah.
And for those of us that may not have ever heard of keto, can you give a quick explanation of what a ketogenic diet would be?
Yeah, promote fats as the source of energy as opposed to starches as opposed to source of energy. So therefore, reduce the amount of rice or bread or potato that's on your meal, and increase the amount of fat that's in the meal, which would be olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, or animal fats like butter and tallow and lard and duck fat, chicken fat. Just leave the fat in.
Okay, so we can't ever talk about fat and oils without talking for a brief minute about highly processed vegetable oils.
Oh, yeah. The seed oil. So here's what happens. When you take seed oils, they used to be just fine in the old days. They were ground with a stone mill at low speed, and they were ground only as needed when needed. So when a farmer's wife ground some flax seed or hemp seed or whatever, that oil was used in 1 or 2 weeks, and it was never heated when it was being made. But now that same oil we are now extracting from canola and mustard and corn and cottonseed and seeds like that. And when we extract, industrial methods are high pressure, high temperature, high esterification of fat. They are made rancid right from the get-go as you process them. So then you have to follow it with refining, degumming, and some process of removing all of that damage. So you're left with, well, I should say differently, all of the fragile things that are worth having are the ones that you have destroyed in the process of manufacturing. So you have to take them away, and those are the omega-3s. And what you're left with is omega-6s. And when you have an abundance of omega-6s, you now have higher inflammation than what you would expect.
Right. So they don't help. So you got to make sure you got the right fat.
Yeah. Of course, you let a nerd talk about it. He'll give you too much information.
So this part of our brain is the energy hog.
Yeah, that's the CPU of your memory.
And you want to give it all the energy it wants. And when you don't, then you don't remember things. You can't think straight. You have brain fog.
Yeah. Imagine this. You're running on about 100 watts of energy, and 20 watts of it is your brain.
Yeah.
which
All
is
right.
actually amazing, Scott, when you think about it. To do artificial intelligence, you need a data center that's using about a megawatt.
Right.
And here I'm running on 20 watts, less than a light bulb.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So sometimes so here's the engine that you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah, the
missing
combustion
spark.
chamber. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. You go ahead.
And here's the cycle that we want you to break.
All right. Yeah. So if you use carb as your energy input, which is, grains and potatoes, grains and tubers, anything that you have to steam, bake, or what else do you do with it? Boil. Okay. So add vitamin B1. That's the spark. Without the B1, the mitochondria just don't know what to do with all of the energy. So then it starts backing up, and you end up with too much of glucose, and you end up with this process called glycolysis, which is how you take apart the glucose into energy. And when you do that, you end up with lactic acid because you have now processed it under lack of oxygen.
Right. So you're eating a big cake, you're eating some pie, you're eating a hamburger, a hot dog, this half bun.
And French fries.
And French fries. And all this stuff is going to be stripping out your natural B1. It's going to take 16 to 24% times more out of it than what you would normally use. You're just going to pee it away. And the body's going to say, and the brain's going to say, shut the door. Martin, shut the door, lock it, because we can't deal with this stuff. And then you're going to have, toxic overload.
Well, visualize your engine, 6 cylinders or 8 cylinders or whatever it has, and you take 1 or 2 or 3 of the spark plugs out of commission. All of a sudden, you used to have 300 horsepower. Now you're running on 75.
Yeah, and the ones that are left are all gummed up.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
So vitamin B1 is a really important
A
vitamin.
fat-soluble version of B1 is called benfotiamine, and that's the one that's doing it. Your body can convert the water-soluble to the fat-soluble, or you can supplement the fat-soluble. It's out there.
And the purpose of this is to clean out the toxicity of the glycose.
Yeah, and also repair the myelin sheath around the nerves. So, people who are diabetic end up with neuropathy, which is pain in the legs, in their feet, but also they lose their ability to feel their feet. They walk as if they were on stilts, on sticks. And you see that with people who have this metabolic problem. They know they cannot feel their feet. They walk carefully and they hang on to rails and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about what you're putting into your mouth, no amount of B1 is going to out supplement a highly refined diet. Yeah. So it all comes back down to the beginning. Like, what are you eating? What are you putting into your mouth? What are you consuming? Mentally and physically, and then you've got to start making some changes. Yeah. And unfortunately, we grew up being told, sandwiches are good.
Yeah, Scott, we're not talking fast enough. It's already 12 o'clock and we haven't finished it.
Yeah, we got the last one to go. The 3-pillar brain energy recovery protocol. Fix your diet, supplement, and add some fasting, which is going to accelerate your healing.
Yeah, simply put, it's that. Now you can add to it some intermittent fasting where you skip a meal or 2 or 3. Just be random about it. Stress your body energetically. And when you skip some meals, all of a sudden you run out of glucose and your body has to reach for reserves. There are usually plenty of reserves around the belly, and that's what you want. You want You want the
Watch
AMPK fire up.
Like, watch your belt. You see if your belt is tight at the end of the day because you're bloating and you're inflamed and you've been eating the wrong things. And then you notice in the morning it's not quite as bloated, and your belt, you get it. And that's one trick you can look at. Like, oh yeah, like I shouldn't be eating some of the things I'm eating because, hey, I'm expanding when I should not be expanding.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the brain isn't fading, it's starving.
Yep.
And
that's how you know.
Yeah. So we're going to leave it with that. And Martin, there's a couple products that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
And the number one is Nanosoma.
Yeah, Nanosoma is awesome because it's designed to fix mitochondria wherever they are found. And so when you take this, please add it in.
Yeah, just a sec.
Anyway, when you take this, you are improving on the mitochondria. This is a fix for both the cell membrane, which deals with the issue of getting the energy in, but also at the mitochondria themselves. It repairs whatever problem you may have had or may have created, and allows you to do everything better around the energy issue. So whether it's repairing or thinking or digesting or running, you will be able to do better, all of it, when you have Nanosoma as a supplement. It's the universal de-ager. Yeah.
Cool. And let's talk about Tributerin X.
Yeah, Tributerin is a gut builder. Like, there are multiple ways to supplement the butyrates, which are that which feeds your brain. These are the ketones, right? Beta hydroxybutyrate is what you want. And you can buy supplements that you will drink that straight up. The other type of thing is the MCT, medium chain triglyceride, called caprylic acid. You can drink that straight. This is what you would be adding to your coffee. Remember bulletproof coffee? That's that. Now, this butyrate is added to the digestive system because, of course, the problem starts with the gut. And if you click on those infographics that are included here with the product, it talks about the parts where you are fixing. And the fourth point here, right on that infographic, was the gut-brain connection. And this is really important, is that when you have a healed, well-functioning gut, you will automatically have a great, well-fed brain. And you will have energy for immunity and digestion and thinking. Yeah, that's the story here. And if you have a brain thinking problem, you may want to also push something like, what is that thing called? I'm having a dropout. I haven't eaten a damn thing today, and all of a sudden I'm feeling hypoglycemic, right?
Right.
And I can easily visualize where the product is on the website, and I'm having trouble recalling it. Starts with a B.
Starts with a B. I wish I could help.
Oh, that's all right. I'll think of it. Comes out of Oregon grape and comes out of golden seal. Nope. This is a classic. Right? I will think of that name in about 2 minutes, but we will be off the air by then.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Martin, for taking time out of your busy day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific and 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We are here live. Please leave comments, like, subscribe. If you've got any questions, put them in there. Also, head over to www.life-enthusiast.com. You'll see on the top there's a contact us, and you can set up an appointment with Martin, a free 15 minutes, and he can walk you through and help you with using your metabolic type to improve your health.
And so the product The product, Scott, is called Berberine.
Berberine. There you go.
That's the one you need for better glucose management and for better memory management. I better go take some.
Yeah. And I was able to talk long enough for you to get that figured out. So thank you, everybody. This has been the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. Stuck in the rubble of the years I've stacked. Stagnation in my veins like a river to the dust. Toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must.